What's up, everybody? Joseph Aaron here, and I hope you're having an amazing day. Today is the start of a 5-day series I'm going to be sharing with you all based on the title Rich and Influential. And if you're watching this video, it means you're someone who feels called. You want to do something significant with your life. And I know the words rich and influential are scary words, especially in the context of really doing what God has called you to do with your life. So most people don't know because I haven't announced it yet, but I did tell our change agents inside of our Change the World movement that we're going to be releasing a book and launching all kinds of cool stuff. So you want to be paying attention to this channel, be watching what's going on because it's about to get real up in here. And so today I wanted to share a little bit about who this is for. This is for people who feel called. This is for people who want to make a difference. I was in a meeting the other day, and it really wasn't a meeting. I went to hang out with some old friends, and they happen to be missionaries. Now, this isn't, I would call a missionary a movement leader. They are starting a movement in a foreign land and bringing people together, right? But many of you who are entrepreneurs, or you're starting Facebook groups, or you're starting Facebook channels, you're starting businesses, you are entrepreneurs or movement leaders or nonprofits. Some of you are for profit, some of you are for whatever. But here's the deal. The reason I got into entrepreneurship, the reason I even give a rip about money is because I want to change the world. See the hat? Like it's what we do. And many of you feel called. And this is what I'm seeing. You feel called, but you don't know what to do. And I've been wrestling with this for over 2 years now. I played with it for a month at one point and then stopped because I couldn't see the traction, and I shouldn't have. So I'm coming back. I'm finishing the book. People who've heard this book or heard me speak on this book have been literally just paradigm shifting, game changing information for them. So this week, my job right here on this channel is to pour into you this week. Yes, at some point, I'm going to be releasing a book, and I would love for you to buy it, but you can't buy it right now. And so all I'm going to do is pour into you. And I promise you this, it is literally going to change your paradigms and perceptions of what God's trying to do in the world. I met a missionary this week. And as I sat and talked with him, and I saw how he was going to go about impacting this country, who is untouched, really primarily untouched with Christianity for the most part, or at least any sort of modern form, or as we should say, ancient form, wink. But nevertheless, he had all these old strategies, love them to death. He had all these kind of do it the way it's always been done kind of stuff. And the organization that he's working with requires that he operates this way because they have their method, which is totally fine. But I started talking to him about what we do and how we see things as entrepreneurs to build movements, to impact more people, and also to fund it, right? To grow. How many of you want more influence? Give me a yes in the chat. How many of you want to increase your wealth? How many of you believe that if you had access to more capital, you could help your church more? You could help other nonprofits you care about more. You could help other for-profits you care. You would have more freedom to do the things that you feel like you're called to do. But there's this weird thing going on in the world about God, money, mission, influence. It's a very, very strange conundrum. It's like we're not allowed to talk about it. And I'm going to break the rules. For this week, I'm going to talk about this intersection between God, money, your mission, and the influence that you could grow to fulfill the purpose that God has for your life. And so as I talked to this missionary, just sitting down at breakfast, it's like idea after idea after idea, I realized, man, that would just blow up his movement. That would make him be so much more impactful, right? And then you talk to entrepreneurs, and it's the same thing. The same principles that apply to multiplying a movement that is nonprofit are the same principles that apply to becoming an influential leader in the world. It's the same principles again and again and again. And it's in the Bible. Like there is a story that Jesus tells multiple times that literally shows us how to think about this. And it is so pertinent and so important that those of us who feel called by God to do something understand the principles of this story and start implementing them and become powerful, influential leaders in the world. Help shape the world and the conversation of the world. Because how many of you know the world is broken? and full of human suffering, and that God has called us to change all that. Like, we're a part of that. So today, there's a lot of things I could do today, but I just wanted to initiate. And so what I'm going to do today, I'm just going to read you my current working introduction. And once I read this at the end, if you're serious and not just curious, you're like, man, I want to be a change agent. I want to make a bigger impact than I've ever made in my life. If that's you, I just want you to put change agent at the bottom once you read this, if this is for you. And I'll make sure that you know this week. I'll comment and stuff like that, so you're reminded. But I'm going to be pouring into people who feel called this week, to people who really want to do something big, and they're like, how, right? How do I do it? The answers are already there. Like, the answers are 100% all the way there. It's you and me that's in the way. And I know, because I led a movement that ultimately I ran out of money growing the movement. This is way back in the early 2010 through 2015. Actually, it was really 2007 through 2015. And we went homeless 3 times pursuing a vision that we felt like God had called us to. And I want people who feel called by God today to start operating in the strength and power of the principles that God has already given. And I'm going to be sharing them this week. But I'm going to read you my intro, if that's okay. Give me a yes in the chat. I'll be sharing with you this week. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Alan. Here we go. This book is for those who feel called. It's for those who want to do more, but don't know what to do. Many of you are entrepreneurial. You're leaders, you're builders, you're investors. Some of you are leaders in the making, but many, and I can safely say most, have no idea what God is trying to do through your life. You're waiting on God. After thousands of conversations with people who feel called to impact culture and change the world, I can say with confidence that the current constructs and paradigms of, quote, doing God's work in the world leave most of us feeling uninspired and deflated. Doing God's work has to involve more than simply singing in the choir on Sunday, or being an usher, or parking cars on Sunday, or serving on the board, or playing worship music on Sunday mornings. I celebrate all those things, don't get me wrong, and I honor the work that these roles do for the kingdom. But many of us know intuitively that while these are the options that our local assembly invites us to participate in, we feel this nagging sense that God is calling us to something different, something more. I'm convinced that there is an army of people waiting on the sidelines to live out their God-given purpose. They don't know what to do. If that's you, say me. I don't know. Me. I don't know what to do. This book is written to answer your questions. I want to use a simple story that Jesus uses multiple times in different places to help us understand what God is trying to do in the world and how you can participate. But let me be clear, this is not a nice Sunday school story. It's not safe. This is not warm, cuddly Jesus in the story. This is savage Jesus. When Jesus tells this story to explain his kingdom, he celebrates those who join him in his work, those who are faithful and effective. But those who operate in fear, listen to me, those who operate in fear and those who lack the courage to step into their calling, well, he curses them. He takes everything they have and he throws them into hell. Savage. Like you, I'm passionate about being celebrated by the King for the work I've done in his kingdom. This is not a game to me. This is not something that I can casually consider. For those of you just joining us, I'm reading the introduction for the book that's coming up. It's almost done. This is not a game to me. This is not something that I can casually consider. Before me stands the decision of my life. Will I fulfill my purpose? Will I multiply? Will I expand? Will I represent the King and his kingdom well? Or, like the story I'm about to share, will I hide? Everything is on the line right now. This is the Super Bowl of your life. If you decide to stay on the sidelines and wait for the perfect moment where failure is least likely, that will be the very thing that robs you of God's greatest blessing in your life. The world needs leaders, and never has there been a more significant opportunity to represent the King and his kingdom. The stories of the past will all pale in comparison to the story being laid out on the earth today. This is your opportunity to live your dreams. Jesus' simple story will show you how. But it's going to be different than you thought. Let's scrap the model and change the world. That's the intro. And it's a lot to pour out. I'm so excited to share it with you all. This week, I'm not going to be reading every day, but I wanted to share who this was for. Thank you for those of you commenting here. Katie says, this may be a big ask, but you could direct me to the podcast you did with Josh 40. It was the best podcast I've ever heard, and I couldn't find it online. I don't remember. I'm sorry, Katie. Maybe Josh can help you. Podcast I did with Josh 40. Cool. Doc Kaya says, you finished the book. I'm so happy. I haven't finished the book. I'm still in process with the book. This is part of the process of finishing. So very, very good. But listen, team, this week, Rich and Influential. I want you to read, your homework is to read Matthew chapter 25. There's a story there. It's called the Parable of the Talents. And I've never heard it explained the way I explain it. I think most people come at it from a budgeting point of view instead of an entrepreneurial and kingdom point of view. And it's amazing the principles that are there and how it will absolutely open huge doors in your life. And so I'm excited to share it with you. Yeah, it has been years, Katie. I'm excited to share it with you, and I'm grateful for all of you who are a part of the community. And I'm going to be just pouring into y'all. So feel free to ask questions in the comments, anything I can do to help you get clear on how to fulfill what God is calling you to do, even if you don't know. And that's most people. I don't know what God wants me to do, but I feel like I'm called. Okay, this week we're going to go through it. I'm going to help you through it so that you can see what you're being called to do, what the options are for you, and what skills you need, what resources you need in order to fulfill that vision, because the opportunity has never been bigger. If you're serious about being a change agent in culture and making the difference God is calling you to make, I just want you to put the word change agent in the chat, and I'll be here live every day, 2:00 every day this week, 2 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. And put change agent in the chat. And I'll make sure I comment when new things are coming out so you all know. All right, change agent, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks for letting me share. All right, God bless.